Her pink bonnet and a pair of baby shoes.
Uh-huh.
She says they've all been used. They're not new.
Well, a lot of mothers save baby clothes, things like that.
No, the Roth woman wouldn't have a reason to.
Yeah?
She's never had any children.
The kitchens of today can be more beautiful than 1949 because this year there's a better, brighter, self-polishing floor wax. It's 1949 Glow Coat. Yes, bright as it's always been, this year Glow Coat is brighter than ever, better than any. Try 1949 Glow Coat on your linoleum this week.
Friday, July 4th, 11 a.m. Frank Smith and I left the office and drove out to interview Mildred Leslie at her apartment. She told us substantially the same thing she told Frank on the phone. The Leslie girl had been employed as a maid by Mr. and Mrs. Roth for almost a year. She went on to tell us that for the last few months or so, Mrs. Roth, who was a fairly prominent clubwoman, had been acting peculiarly, and that Mr. Roth was worried about her. According to the Leslie girl, he'd consulted a doctor several times about his wife. As for the articles of baby clothing, they'd been found stored back on a shelf in Mrs. Roth's bedroom closet. The Leslie girl told us that she happened to find them while cleaning and dusting Mrs. Roth's bedroom. Each of the articles she claimed she saw seemed to tie in directly with the child stealings. A pink sweater, a pink bonnet, a pair of baby shoes. Identical items of clothing had been taken from each of the previous abduction victims. After we left Mildred Leslie, Frank and I got to a phone, called the record bureau, and had them make a run for us on Mrs. Roth. She had no previous criminal record. 1:20 p.m. We called Mr. Roth at his place of business, but the office was closed because of the 4th of July holiday. We got in the car and drove out to the Roth home, an old 2-story mansion just above Silver Lake Reservoir. Mrs. Roth wasn't at home. We interviewed her husband in the living room.
What seems to be the trouble, Sergeant? Why would you want to see my wife?
There's a few questions we'd like to ask her, Mr. Roth. Can you tell us where she is now?
She took a drive with some friends of hers. I think they were going down to the beach club. Why?
But we're investigating a juvenile case, Mr. Roth. We think maybe your wife can give us some information on it.
Well, I'm sorry she isn't home. It's too bad you didn't call this morning. She didn't leave until after 11. She'll be home later tonight if you care to call back. You're sure it's not something I can help you with?
Well, yes, sir, maybe you can. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your wife's activities the last month or so.
Well, how do you mean? Some of the social work she does with the club?
Not quite, Mr. Roth.
You said you were from the juvenile division. Is it something regarding her work with the underprivileged kids? Her club does quite a bit of that, you know. Afraid I don't know too much about it, though.
No, sir, it's not that.
Well, I don't think I understand. What is it about?
Well, Mr. Roth, we want you to understand that this is merely a routine investigation. We don't want to offend you in any way, but we have some information that we've got to check out.
What do you mean? What kind of information?
Well, there's been a series of child stealing cases the last month or so. We're the investigating officers on it. Maybe you read about them in the papers?
Yes, I have, but what would my wife have to do with that? You think she has some information for you? She didn't say anything about it to me.
Yes, sir, I think she can help us quite a bit.
I don't know exactly when she'll be home. I don't have any place to contact her. I do know the club's taking a group of children to the Coliseum tonight, the big 4th of July fireworks display, you know.
Yes, I see.
I'm going to meet my wife there tonight. Maybe I could give her a message for you, tell her to contact you.
All right, fine, Mr. Roth. There is something that you can do for us right now, though.
Yes?
Would you take us up to your wife's room? I'd like to have a look at it.
Take you to her room? I don't understand. What for?
Well, like we told you before, sir, it's a routine investigation. I think if you take us to your wife's room, I think we can clear the whole thing up now. It probably won't be necessary to bother you tonight.
Well, I certainly don't understand, but come along if you like. Doris's room is right at the head of the stairs.
Thank you.
Certainly has me baffled. What would there be about Doris's room? It has to be investigated.
We don't know that there is anything, sir. Just appreciate your cooperation.
Not at all. We haven't anything to hide. Here we are. This is her room. Now, what is it you're looking for?
And that's the bedroom closet, is it?
Yes, that's right.
Like to look at it if we could?
Certainly. Go right ahead.
All right.
There's a shelf up there, Joe. Can you reach it all right?
Yeah, I think so.
What is it? What are you looking for?
All right, here you go, Frank.
Yeah. Pink bonnet, pink sweater.
That's it. Here's the baby shoes. The ID bracelet. Yeah, initials J.D.
Not much doubt.
Yeah.
Baby clothes. Bracelet. Never seen them around here. How'd you know they were here?
Well, we weren't sure that they were.
But I've never seen them before. What are they doing in Doris's room? Why would she have them? I have to talk to her about this.
Yes, sir, so do we. After finding the evidence in his wife's bedroom closet, we continued to interview Mr. Roth. We briefed him on the details of the case and explained about the articles of baby clothing. He was very cooperative, but he found it hard to believe that his wife was responsible for the abduction of the babies. He told us that early in their marriage, his wife did have a child which died shortly after birth. Complications left her unable to have any more children. When she found out about this, it resulted in Mrs. Roth having a nervous breakdown, but apparently she recovered completely. Roth went on to tell us that his wife was very fond of children and that she devoted a great deal of time to social work, caring for underprivileged children. He also told us that during the past month, with the recurrence of her nervous condition, she'd been under a doctor's care. Shortly after 8 o'clock that night, along with Mr. Roth, we drove to the Coliseum where crowds of people were gathering for the annual July 4th fireworks display. Roth pointed out his wife. We went over and he introduced us.
These officers would like to talk to us, honey. Let's step over here.
Well, I can't leave the children alone. Can't we talk later?
No, honey, it's pretty important. I think you better talk to them now.
Well, all right. If you say so, you'll have to stay and watch the children, though.
They'll be all right. We can keep an eye on them from over there.
No, I can't leave them alone. You'll have to stay.
Well, all right.
Ma'am, I wonder if you step over here, please.
Yes, all right.
This ought to be all right here.
Beautiful night tonight, isn't it? Children just love these things. I think they're just about ready to start the show. Yes. Just look at that. The colors. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to drive you and your husband downtown to Juvenile Division. We'd like to talk to you.
What do you mean? I can't leave now. I have these children with me. What did you want to see me about? What's the trouble?
I think you know why we're here, Mrs. Roth.
I don't. Why do you want to talk to me?
Well, we can start here, ma'am. We were at your home this afternoon. Your husband showed us your bedroom, the closet. We found the things up on the top shelf.
What?
The baby clothes, the bracelet.
Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful.
How about it, Mrs. Roth? You want to come along downtown?
Just baby clothes. Had them in my closet. It doesn't mean anything.
I'm afraid you're wrong. It means a good deal, ma'am. You know that.
Yes. All right.
Would you want to tell us about it, Ms. Roth? Ms. Roth?
Where do I start? There's no beginning. Just started. I couldn't help myself. What can I say?
You just tell us what happened. Start any place.
My baby died. Then they said I couldn't have any more. Guess it started then. I told my husband, told the doctor, too. They didn't understand. Nobody understands. It's all I wanted. My children, my own children.
How about the Martin baby, Mrs. Roth? The first one you took. How'd that happen?
Look, another one. Purple, white, beautiful.
What about it, ma'am? The Martin baby? How'd that happen?
I saw him in the baby carriage outside the market there. Such a cute baby. Pulled the covers back, looked at him. I didn't think I was going to steal him. After I looked at him, I just wanted to hold him. Hold him close, so I picked him up. You understand, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
He was such a sweet baby. Could have been mine. I kept on holding him. Then I started to put him down, back in his carriage. I couldn't.
What do you mean, ma'am?
I couldn't put the baby down. It was just like mine. It was mine. I can't explain it. I took the blanket from the buggy. I put it around him. I walked away. Nobody knew. It was my baby.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go on?
Oh, my head. Terrible headache. It's so hard to tell you. I couldn't even tell my husband. I lied. I'd take the baby and stop overnight at a motel and tell my husband lies. I couldn't let him know.
Well, you knew you were doing wrong, didn't you?
Yes, I knew it. Not when I was taking the baby, though. Not when I picked them up. Not when I held him in my arms, held him close. It didn't seem wrong. Most natural thing in the world. I just pretended. I'd pick the baby up and I'd hold it close. It was my baby. All of a sudden, it was my baby. Later on, I had to stop pretending. The baby wasn't mine. I had to give it back. Isn't that wonderful? Look, streamers, a shower of stars. It's marvelous.
Why'd you abandon the children, ma'am, without notifying anyone?
I knew they'd be found. I made sure of that. I always put them someplace where they had to be found. Terrible headache. You don't know what it's been like. I couldn't tell anyone, no one.
Yes, ma'am. You about ready to go now?
All right. I could only explain it to you. I mean, having a baby, then losing it. You don't know what it's like. No one will ever know what it's like. No one.
You took 4 babies, ma'am.
Yes.
How about their mothers?
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 10th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Doris Evelyn Roth was tried and convicted of child stealing under Section 278 Penal Code, 4 counts. She was placed on 5 years probation. One of the terms of probation required that she would be under strict supervision of a competent psychiatrist. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
We'll be back for more One Nostalgic Weekend after these classic messages.
Maybe you're sort of tired of eating the same old thing day after day. Maybe you'd like to try something different, something delicious, something with a marvelous flavor that just knocks the spots off any other cereal you've ever tried. Now, if that's the case, why don't you ask your mother to let you have a big bowl of crackly, crunchy, golden brown Wheaties flakes tomorrow morning? Ask your mother to let you have a cereal you'll really like the taste of. Ask her for the big, husky cereal for wide-awake fellows and girls who not only start things, but who see them through. Your mother will be mighty glad to let you have Wheaties, too. For most any fellow's or girl's mother wants to see them eat a big bowl of a nourishing whole wheat cereal every morning. And your mother probably knows, too, that authorities now recognize that Wheaties supply the very same amount of heat-producing units you need to help keep your body warm these cold winter days as a cooked cereal does. So you can be sure she'll be glad to let you have all the Wheaties you want to eat this winter, if you ask her for them. Remind your mother to always look for the famous seal of acceptance of the Committee on Foods of the American Medical Association whenever she buys Wheaties. That seal means much to her. It tells her that Wheaties are a pure product, honestly advertised. And another thing, remind your mother that lots of grocers are featuring Wheaties and bananas now. Ask her to get some of each next time she goes to the store. Try that delicious breakfast combination tomorrow morning. You'll say it's swell.
Try Wheaties. They're whole wheat with all of the brands. Won't you try Wheaties? For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy, they're crunchy the whole year through. Jack Hampton never tires of them, and neither will you. So just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land.
This is One Nostalgic Weekend on the WON Radio Network.
Avoid 5 o'clock shadow. Use Gem Blades. Use Gem Blades.
And now, back to One Nostalgic Weekend.
What do you want? Come on out right away, Jughead. It's a matter of life or death. Relax, Dorothy. Relax.
Yes, here he is again, the youngster millions of readers of Archie Comics magazine know and love so well. Brought to you by Swift & Company, makers of Swift Brookfield Sausage, Archie Andrews, and all his gang. Now for our weekly visit to Riverdale. It's early evening as we look in on the Andrews home, and we find Mrs. Andrews sitting in the living room sewing.
When day is done and shadows fall, I think.
Mom! Here I am, dear.
Oh, hiya, Mom.
Hello, dear.
But there's something I want to ask you, Mom.
Archie.
It's very important, very important, so please say yes.
Archie.
Huh?
Archie Andrews, how many times have I asked you not to slam the door when you come into the house and not to shout at the top of your lungs?
Well, gee, I'm sorry, Mom, but I gotta ask you something.
All right. Now, just what is it that's so important?
Well, I just want to ask you... Gee whiz, Mom, where's Dad?
Well, he isn't home yet, dear. He phoned to say he was detained at the office, but he'll be home any minute.
Oh, well, what I was going to ask, Mom, is can we have a party here tonight?
Of course you can. What?
A party, a Halloween party.
Tonight?
Uh-huh. We were all set to have one at Veronica's house, but when Mr. Lodge heard about it tonight, he said nothing doing.
Oh.
And if I can have the party here, it would really make a good impression on Veronica.
But, Archie, I don't know what to say on such short
Well,
notice.
you don't have to prepare anything, Mom. The girls have all the candy and the cake and stuff at Veronica's now, and if you say yes, they'll bring everything right over here, and we'll clean up afterwards and be very careful, please, Mom?
Well, if you put it that way, Archie, I don't see how I could say no.
Oh, gee, thanks, Mom. I knew you'd say yes. Thanks a million, Mom. Thanks. Oh, you're such a
Archie, all right. You're quite welcome, dear. But if you're having company tonight, I'd better go change my dress. I'm sure you want your mother looking presentable.
Oh, sure, Mom. And as soon as I call the kids and tell them everything's okay, I'll get dressed, too. Boy, oh, boy, we can have the Halloween party here. Hot dog.
Mary, I'm home. Mary. That's funny. I wonder where she is. Oh, well, must be around the house someplace. Oh, boy, it sure feels good to be home. What a day. What a day. Oh, I don't know when this armchair looked so comfortable or felt so comfortable. Oh, it's great to be home. Yes, sir. I'll just take my tie off. Open my collar. Oh, yeah, that's it. Now I'll get these shoes off. There. Oh, now to sit back and relax. Yes, sir, it certainly feels good to be... Jughead.
What'd you expect, Elsa Maxwell?
No, Jughead, I did not expect Elsa Maxwell. And since when do you come barging in here without ringing the bell?
Oh, I just told me to. We got a lot of things to do.
Got a lot of things. What kind of things?
Oh, no time to explain now, Miss Andrews.
Hey, Archie! I'm here!
He is here. Oh, what the dickens is all this about anyway?
Hello, Mr. Andrews.
Betty.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I just dropped in to see how... Well, what am I doing? Betty, dear, if you don't mind, I live here.
Oh. Well, I better take these packages out into the kitchen.
Yeah, but Betty, wait, what are those packages?
Can I explain now, Mr. Andrews?
Oh, great. First, Jughead comes marching in here without ringing the bell. Then Betty...
Oh,
hi.
Oh, you're Mr. Andrews.
Yes, I'm Mr. Andrews, but who are you?
I'm Agatha Gush.
Yeah.
And this is Prunella Jenkins, and Sis Henderson, and Bootsy Mitchell.
I'm glad to know you, girls.
Oh, girls, isn't he cute?
Look, Agatha,
He'd be positively adorable if he only had hair.
What do you mean, if only I had hair? Yeah, but wait a minute. What the devil's going on around here? Oh, great. Now, how do you like that? I spend a hard day at the office. I come home exhausted, and all of a sudden, my house is turned into Grand Central Station.
Come on, you better get things arranged. Gee whiz, Dad, what are you doing here?
Why does everybody keep asking me that?
Well, golly, Dad, I only meant I didn't know you were home.
Archie, look, I am home, and I'm beginning to wish I wasn't. Now, if it's not asking too much, would you mind telling me what's going on around here?
Well, sure, Dad. We're having a Halloween party.
Oh, all right. For a minute, Halloween party?